What's the most adverse thing that you ever had to deal with during your competitive career over here?
Oh my gosh. I could go on this for hours, right? So two quick stories. Went to Cuba, went to Sierra Pilado, 2001, and just a really tough tournament because you got a lot of Cubans and there's other foreigners that are coming into it. And was winning a match, and the Cuban just blatantly stuck his finger deep into my eyeball, right? Literally fingertip over top of my eyeball. And when he pulled his finger out of my eye, the skin under my eye came out with a sack of blood under it. So it was literally like just a flap of over top of my eye. So I couldn't see, right? And there's still a good amount of time left in the match, so the doctor allows me to continue, right? They get me patched up enough that I can continue wrestling. So immediately the match begins, so I snap the guy into a front headlock, and a front headlock that I had learned from my older brother and one that Dave Schultz used to use. So I got this guy so tight, and he went limp, right? He goes limp on the mat. Jared Frayer just reminded me of this story. And the fans in the stands come out over the guardrails onto the mat, and they're storming the mat, right? So I'm literally hiding behind Joe C because now they want to come at me because their guys sprawled out on the mat, right? And it took them probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get all of the fans back off the mat. It was crazy. It was one of those moments in time where you do something and 33 seconds later you're like, I'm in fear for my life, right? So there was that one. Another one, I go and wrestle in Kiev, Ukraine, and wrestle in the tournament. I didn't perform well. I called James Ravenak as I'm leaving the tournament. I said, James, you got to get me connect me to the next international event, which was Ulan-Ude in like another week. So I leave Kiev, I fly back to Oklahoma. I'm training in Stillwater. Unpack my bags, repack my bags. I'm on another flight to Ulan-Ude, Russia, which you're going all the way to the other side of Russia, where you could be on a flight to Seattle in like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It's that, you're going all the way around. You can only get into Russia through Moscow. So I make the flight to Moscow. I'm by myself. I spend a half a day. The Russians are sending someone to pick me up to connect me with Guerrero and Daniel Cormier, Mohamed Lawal, Jamil Kelly. They're already on a trip in Yakutsk. They had been to, I think they were in either Ossetia or Dagestan, and they're coming over to Ulan-Ude. So we get to Ulan-Ude. It's the part of Russia where there's a lot of Mongolians, right? And you're just over the Mongolian border. So my weight class at weigh-ins, 50 deep, right? Because they're all tiny people. Daniel's got like 6 short, fat guys, right? All prize money's all the same. So we wrestled the tournament, and I performed well. Obviously, the loss in Ukraine got me in the right mindset, so I battled through. It was like 6 or 7 matches to get to the final. So now I have the guy had taken second at the Russian Nationals, and he's really tough. So I'm getting ready for the finals, and the way it worked internationally is they would wrestle bronze medal match, then the gold, and then they'd go to the next weight up, bronze medal match, gold, right? So they come to me as I'm getting ready. This is 15 minutes before, and they say, the only Russian from this province that made the final is your athlete. So we're going to reverse the order. So now I got 2.5 hours. I'm primed, ready to go. They walk up and say, we're reversing the order. So now, Daniel wrestles, crushes his guy, and it goes down through all the weights. So now I'm the last match. And in this little tiny arena, it is packed because it's all the people from his province and all the clubs and everything. And we get into our match, and it is a battle, right? He scores a point, I score 2 points. I score 2 points, he scores 2 points. And it's back and forth, back and forth. And it was one of those instances in my life. I ended up losing the match, right? I got to a position where I'm scoring the last takedown, he's in a quad pod, and I bust a knee to the mat, he builds back up, They never award the point for the takedown. 1 point takedowns back then. They never award the point. I lose, right? And so I flip out, right? I'm upset. They award straight cash, American dollar on the podium, right? So the tournament ends. I go to leave, and because my process was so quick, I didn't have the proper visa paperwork. They literally, in Moscow, they put me in a holding cell because I don't have proper visa paperwork to exit the country on time. So the prize money that I just won on the podium, which was like 750 American dollars or $1,000, just so happened to be the amount of my fine to get out of the country. And so what do? You're either going to get stuck in Russia and everybody else is going to be on a plane going home, or you pony up cash. So I pony up my prize money, leave with nothing, a second place that I thought I won gold. So, experiences like that are, number one, they're priceless in terms of coaching, because John Smith used to say something to us all the time when I was in college. He would say, hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst environment, settings, food, whatever. And in those instances, when I started traveling overseas, it rang true, because you could prepare and hope that everything's going to go great, but the reality is you're probably going to get hit with some bad calls. You're going to hit with some horrible food. You can't drink the water. There's just instances that these are really good things for these young men to go through and experience.